Look, Canelo's not the only choice. That's the first choice, but it's not the only choice. Billy Joe Saunders is a huge fight over in the UK. Gennady Jacobs is a huge fight in New York City. For a Gennady Jacobs fight, I think that's a great fight. Look, with Danny made a huge statement by look, anytime you can beat Peter Quillin in 1 round by knockout, that's a big statement. We were at the WBA convention in Panama. Gennady Jacobs is the regular champion. Gennady's the super champion for the WBA. So that's a fight that would naturally make a lot of sense, especially in New York. I know Madison Square Garden has huge interest in that fight. If Gennady can sell out the Garden against David Lemieux, if he fights Gennady Jacobs, who's a native of New York, I mean that's a big fight. That I could see that being on pay-per-view, and I think that would be a fight that could be made if we couldn't make either Canelo or Billy Joe Saunders.
Speaking of Gennady Jacobs, he's an Al Haymon fighter as well as Dominic Wade. How hard was it to get a deal done with an Al Haymon fighter on the HBO tonight?
Well, I got to tell you that when Wade was named the mandatory, there was no hesitation from Tom Brown's standpoint. You know, we literally took about a week to work out the deal, and I know Al had signed off on that, and HBO recognizes, look, you know, it's a mandatory obligation, you know, and so I have a good relationship with Al. I've known him for a number of years, so there's you know, my job as a promoter for Gennady is to get the best fights in the ring. This was a mandatory fight, so we had to do it. So it doesn't matter which promoter. I probably worked with 9 different promoters in his since he's fought here on the States, and it's just a matter of, doesn't matter who the promoter is, doesn't matter who the manager is. If we can make the fight with Gennady Jacobs, that's a
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Quick follow-up video. Now, it looks like Gennady had no max, not for future. Golovkin may possibly face Gennady Jacobs. The WBA, which they both hold a version of the WBA's belt, they mandated and ordered that particular fight because Jacobs is the mandatory. They want to consolidate the belts, very customary. Golovkin is the super champion. Gennady Jacobs is the regular champion. So they're in the preliminary early stages of negotiations. I've made several videos about this. Obviously, Jacobs beat Sergio Mora in a rematch, and Golovkin broke Kell Brook's eye and stopped him in the 5th round. This is a great middleweight fight. Nobody jumping up or anything. Both guys have power. Gennady Jacobs has 1 loss, I believe. It was a stoppage to Dmitry Pirog, who was a beast. They were actually, when Golovkin hit the U.S. market, that was a talked about fight when HBO would talk about like the middleweight picture. They were saying Proska, this is around the time when he was fighting Proska, they were saying that would have been a good fight, but I don't know exactly what happened. I think he was ill or he got diagnosed with something and he had to prematurely retire. I know he had to prematurely retire when he was like kind of on the tear. But as far as Golovkin Jacobs, I love it. This is the type of fight for me, I'll try to go to it. I'm a West Coast dude. I live in California, but I've never been to New York as an adult, and that's where I would go. Like if it's in New York, I would really try to get to that particular fight. Great fight. It's a meaningful fight. It'll get Triple G 1 step closer to racking up and collecting all the belts in the middleweight division. After that, I think he'll just have Billy Joe Saunders if he defeats Jacobs. And I want to see the fight. I told you guys I did a video about Canelo. He has a right thumb fracture, doesn't require surgery, and made a video about it, but he will not come back this year in 2016. He wants to take it easy after the Liam Smith performance, and he'll be back sometime in 2017. And that freed up his date. He was slated and had a regular HBO date to possibly fight like Willie Monroe, Gabe Rosado winner, and or like a Billy Joe Saunders or whatever. But with him being out for the rest of the year, we all know HBO's had budget cut issues. That freed up some money, I'm assuming, and it freed up that time slot. So I think Triple G was slated to come back late November since Canelo had that date. But now since he doesn't, they could do a little bit of shifting. So my thoughts real quick, I'd like to fight, make it happen. I've seen Haymon work with different promoters and put his fighters on different networks. Like you look at Canelo versus Amir Khan. Amir Khan is advised and has a pact with Al Haymon, and he fought on an HBO pay-per-view. Dominic Wade, that was a mandatory, but he still fought on HBO against Triple G. Then also Anthony Joshua fought 2 Haymon fighters recently, Charles Martin, and that was on Sky Sports or whatever, and then also his fight with Dominic Brazil. Those are both Al Haymon fighters. So It should be doable. You guys seen the clip at the beginning. I interviewed Tom Loeffler, and he says he's known Al Haymon for a number of years, and he's willing to work with whoever to make these fights happen. So I think Al Haymon would release his fighters. I've talked to a lot of Al Haymon fighters, and they've all told me that if it's something we're really after, Al Haymon doesn't have a problem signing off if it makes sense for everybody. So that'd be good to see it on HBO. I think this is definitely an East Coast fight, and I hate to say it because I'm a West Coast dude, but Danny Jacobs being from Brooklyn, I feel like Madison Square or Barclays, you really got to put it at one of those to maximize your profit. Triple G has no problem selling on the East Coast either. His fight with, I think David Lemieux was on the East Coast at Madison Square Garden, if I'm not mistaken. So I just want to see it. Good fight. Let me know who wins. Some people feel like Triple G was exposed to a degree versus Kell Brook, even though he won and he was victorious. I think Danny Jacobs said in a recent interview he thinks there's things he can pick out, but he's maintained that he wants a certain level of money. He said he's not going to ask for nothing ridiculous, but he wants to be compensated. So you guys let me know what that means. Do you want to see the fight? Drop it in the comment section. I still got to tally up the poll that you guys did and get all the percentages and whatnot from all the social media. That video should be coming soon. Just like and subscribe. A lot of good stuff coming. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.